So one of Eliza's first changes were to her stationary Darkwave. In Season 1, it was -10 at point blank, allowing it to be punished by 1-2 or punished by an attack such as Kazumi's 1-1-2 that leaves you in a disadvantageous situation from the ground. When used in conjunction with down 3 as a special cancel, it often created a hit or miss situation. For example, let's say you use down 3 at tip range. The best case scenario would be if your opponent attempted to punish, then they got hit by the lingering active frames of Darkwave, and then also having Darkwave blocked and the jab not being able to reach. Worst case scenario, you get punished by inconvenience, or the Darkwave just doesn't connect at all on block or on hit. So now in Season 2, you can safely use down 3 into Darkwave as an attack string. So long as the down 3 hits, they'll no longer be able to punish it since it's now -9. Next, we are going to talk about her DP. Often notated as DP2, Eliza is now a little bit closer after the attack is blocked. This change is rather minor, but let's talk about one of her biggest changes to this attack. In Season 1, Eliza wasn't able to utilize her super after a DP2 knockdown. So now, in Season 2, she's able to cancel into her Bloody Drive after a DP2 for another method of a 10-frame launch punish. Yes, she's always had a 10-frame launch punish, but it was locked behind an execution barrier that not many people had the finesse for. So now this makes it easier for the people who aren't so willing to go for the tougher input and shift their focus onto something less likely to mess up. Quarter Circle Back 1 has some interesting changes. Back in Season 1, Eliza's Quarter Circle Back 1 was -14 on block, which made this move really scary to use in neutral to intercept people with. It was very easy to avoid so long as you walked around it, and even Gigas was able to get around it. In Season 2, this attack is now -11, making it only jab punishable, and now it has full homing properties, which means you will not be able to step this move at all, no matter what the situation is. Additionally, the attack leaves the opponent closer on block, so if it is blocked, their punish will not miss due to pushback. Quarter Circle Back 2 has been given a small damage buff, and now it deals 22 damage instead of 20. Alright. On the bright side, Eliza's Quarter Circle Back 2 on counter hit in Season 1 has issues, particularly with bears. If she managed to land Quarter Circle Back 2 on counter hit, even at point blank range, there would be some inconsistency with her being able to link a combo. Now, in Season 2, the issue has been adjusted to where her Quarter Circle Back 2 has less pushing force on her opponent, leaving them a little closer, and now she doesn't have the issue to where her down 3 or other links will miss after landing it. Quarter Circle Back 3 has been nerfed again, and my initial guess was probably to eliminate Eliza's Divekick reset at the wall. In Season 1, you were able to easily pull this off by linking her air version of a Quarter Circle Back 3 at tip range into down 1 DP1. This allowed you to reset the combo and maximize your damage overall. However, now in Season 2, it doesn't seem like this has completely gone away. The Divekick reset still remains intact, but now is locked behind the execution barrier, so now you have to be in the exact range in order for this to work. On a side note, her Divekick can still allow an EX Divekick reset, so long as the opponent is hit face down in the juggle. EX Darkwave received a big hit in the damage department, so instead of 40 points of damage, it now only deals 20. And before, it traveled full screen, and this thing was really fast when it got going, but that didn't matter because it was so telegraphed that you could step it anyways. And in Season 2, it no longer travels full screen, and now it travels slower. Guys, what are you doing? And I'm pretty sure you noticed the EX Moe Glide right after her EX Darkwave. Now, you don't need the bar of meter to Moe Glide because it is a forced transition. You have no control over the Moe Glide. You have to combo after it. But the change is so detrimental to her gameplay that she literally gets nothing off of it. It's almost like you're burning resources for no reason. So the damage nerf to Darkwave actually does more harm than good. A while back I brought up an issue where in Season 1, if EXDP collided with an extended limb, the rest of the hits from the first part of the EXDP would whiff as the opponent wasn't close enough. Now, it seems that issue has been somewhat rectified, and Eliza no longer gets the short end of the stick if you want to interrupt someone from trying to force a mix-up on you. Now the first part of the EXDP vortexes your opponent in, so the rest of the hits will not miss. Eliza's EX Divekick is another attack that also had a damage reduction, dropping it from 30 damage to 20. I put the clips together on top of one another so you can easily see the difference. Now, we've covered Eliza's super before and how I said you were able to link it after DP2, but there's also another change made to this move that makes it more useful. Back in Season 1, it never launched opponents from the ground, and now in Season 2, she's able to launch opponents off the ground and combo right after. Her Bloody Drive now wall splats, which is a pretty good change in my opinion. Here's an example. Now let's take a look at forward forward 4-2. Forward forward 4-2 is an attack that can be special cancelled in a quarter circle forward 1 or quarter circle forward 2. Both options in Season 1 were able to do magic forward, and the trade-off was so bad that no matter what route you chose, it would work in the opponent's favor. So now, in Season 2, the opponent is now in block step for 3 more frames. So to break it down, if your opponent did the jab versus quarter circle forward 1, they will interrupt you. If your opponent did the jab versus quarter circle forward 2, it will trade. If your opponent does a magic 4 versus quarter circle forward 1, they will interrupt you unless you have a 13 frame magic 4, and then it will result in a trade. And if your opponent does a magic 4 versus quarter circle forward 2, you will interrupt them. I think this is a change for the better because forward forward 4-2 is a move that was rarely seen, so this may give you some incentive to start using it now, especially since quarter circle forward 1 is safe on block. Oh, and apparently this is the bug string again. Forward forward 4-2 and the Bloody Drive was able to be done without meter before it got patched, and now the Bloody Drive isn't unblockable, so hopefully this will get fixed sometime soon. Initially in Season 1, if the second hit of Eliza's 1-2-4 string was blocked or hit you, you were unable to duck. Now it's been corrected to where you can actually duck it. As long as the second hit doesn't connect on counter hit, you should be in the clear. As for Standing 2, in Season 1, Standing 2 generated a lot of pushback on hit, to the point where if you wanted to 2-2 punish in the DP2, the second hit of it would just whiff, and you would be at disadvantage. Season 2 fixes that by having the opponent stay completely still on hit. So now, when you attempt to punish with a string like 2-2, you won't be inconvenienced by pushback. 1+2 has received a pretty decent buff to its damage output, having been increased from 20 damage to 26. The recovery was also adjusted, and now she recovers 3 frames faster. This also makes the attack -17 on block. It's still launch punishable like most shoulders in the game, but I think this is a fairly decent adjustment to this attack. Now let's talk about forward 3. Forward 3 is a mid-range poke. Now, in Season 1 I initially questioned why this move is there, because even though on counter hit it gave you plus 25G, it was -11 on block and had terrible tracking, so bad that it could be stepped to either side. So now, in Season 2, this rather useless move is seeing the light of day, as it has become -9, and the homing has increased to cover Eliza's left side against people who step to the right. However, it can still be avoided by stepping to the left versus Eliza, which is primarily her weak side. Moe Glide 2 is one of Eliza's more useful tools, a 14 frame mid that causes a hard knockdown on wall splats. In Season 2, Eliza is able to wall bounce with this attack as long as she EX Moe Glides into it. Now, I know before in this video I expressed my dissatisfaction on this change, but maybe it was because of this reason. Quarter circle forward 1+2, which is our EX Darkwave, isn't able to be stepped, and your opponent must guess the 50-50 between Moe Glide 2 and Moe Glide 4, which we'll talk about next. So Moe Glide 4 is a low option from this stance, and in Season 1 it guaranteed a free Tiger Knee dive kick or the EX version that gave her a combo right after. The hit reaction has changed, similar to Lily's down back 3+4, and currently Moe Glide 4 does guarantee something still, but instead of getting an EX dive kick, you now have to resort to our Bloody Drive, which expends even more resources. Next, down 1. Originally, this attack let you to be able to combo down 1 and a quarter circle back 4 on an off-axis opponent, usually leading into a launch. Not too sure why this got nerfed, as you can only attain this if you sidestep behind something like Chloe's forward 4 string. In Season 2, down 1 into quarter circle back 4 is no longer able to be linked to repetition, due to it losing 3 frames of hit stun, making it +3 instead. Down 4 on the other hand received the change, making it +5 on hit, which means Diablo Jim here shouldn't be able to hit you with up 4 whenever you use down 4 into while standing 4 in sequence. This also means he shouldn't be able to up 4 if you use while standing. Oh my god! But on other characters like Chloe, this allows you to use something like while standing 1 into quarter circle forward 1, or EX Darkwave into a 50-50 Moe Glide mix-up, which will probably be more useful at the wall than shown here. Now we're going to talk about back 1-2-4. Originally, back 1-2 had a pretty good homing ability on the first and the second hit, which caught people by surprise if they didn't step guard. And unfortunately, it has received a nerf on its tracking. This isn't really good for Eliza because she needs some way to catch people who want to step to her weak side, and this actually doesn't help. Some other small change that was made to the string is that now back 1 by itself is +3 on hit, and now the normal hit of the last hit shares the same knockdown reaction as the counter hit, which means now this move will wall splat, but you can still punish the attack by blocking or stepping to the left on the last hit, and even the second hit is still punishable. Back 3 is a high that can be hit confirmed until it's back 3-1 follow-up, or you could use back 3-4. Back 3 by itself has lost 2 points of damage, and personally I don't think that the damage really needed to be touched, but now back 3-1 is -4 on block instead of -7, which means now you are granted the option to step after it is blocked. Additionally, it has gone from being +12 to +15, which is pretty alright with me. You'll be able to use 4-4-2 or continue offense with other attacks. Now, back 3-4 has a different reaction when it hits the opponent from the side, which means now if they happen to get hit with this attack it will wall splat. Also, at the wall, it flips them backwards during wall combos, and now the second kick comes out 1 frame faster. Next, let's check out back 1+2, which is our back swing blow. This attack received a buff, going from being a launch punishable attack at -18 to now only being -13. What makes this even better is that now it has 1 more active frame, so it's more consistent when the first hit connects. In Season 1, this attack used to knock down. This doesn't happen anymore in Season 2. Instead, it now gives you plus frames, leaving you at +4, and forces crouch on hit and block. Oh yeah, and if someone happens to be airborne during this attack, it causes a flow break. 4-4-1+2 had an issue, where the last hit could not be parried. For characters who didn't have a decent while standing 14 frame punish from crouching, they had to resort to the only thing they didn't have access to in Season 1. So now, they have access to a parry in Season 2. Alright, so back in Season 1, while running 1 was -2. Not really great in terms of usage, and only usually created a false sense of block stun because of the stun animation. So currently, in Season 2, now the attack is actually plus, and Claudia won't be able to gracefully hop kick you in the jaw if you decided to try and pressure afterwards. My only issue with this move is that the opponent is too far away, and only something like 4-4-2, which will require a buffer input, could stop hop kicks, orbitals, and probably anything else, but would get stuffed by something like Josie's butterfly edge. While standing 1 now has decreased pushback, so it's easier to hit. Sometimes the attack will whiff at random moments, but it was super rare to see, so I'm glad they took note of this and fixed it. Now for While Standing 2. While Standing 2 is an attack that guaranteed the Tiger Knee dive kick, or an EX dive kick or normal hit. In Season 1, this move was actually punishable at -12. It's now been adjusted to -9, but that's not what makes this change so good. I'll go over a little setup I made back before the update drop, and why this setup has now become even stronger because of this attack being safe now. After I would land something such as down 1 or 1 DP2, I had a trick where if you didn't tech up, I could hit you with down 1 and make you block quarter circle for it too. If the jab hit you and you tech before the Darkwave got to you, I had the option to chase you down with EX Moe Glide, and there was no way to step Moe Glide 2 or Moe Glide 4. The second option would be, is if you teched up while I was doing down 1, I would still have a buffered input for quarter circle forward 2 and have access to EX Moe Glide so long as I had the meter for it. Some people who teched up and didn't get hit with down 1 quarter circle forward 2 were deceived by down 1 whiffing. Oftentimes afterwards, my opponent would try and punish with something like while standing 4, which resulted in them being counter hit launched, because technically I was still plus. In short, you could get up and down jab, but if I did while standing 2 anyways, it still worked in my favor. Now, because it's safe in Season 2, I have a more legit way to check people who mash buttons on Wake Up without being punished for it. Pretty cool, huh? Lastly, we're going to cover while standing 3. Back in Season 1, you could only link down forward 1, or something like back 2-3 in a combo. In Season 2, Eliza recovers 3 frames faster, opening up more combo routes. This even means you could do back 4 as a combo link. This concludes all of Eliza's changes for Season 2. If you're wondering what I think about Eliza for Season 2, while she is better and having a lot of problems fixed in this update, there are some changes I didn't agree with, such as the random damage nerfs to tools like her EX Divekick, EX Darkwave, and her losing tracking to her back 1-2. Eliza needs a safe fast mid that will cover her right side, because for the people who stepped left, that's predominantly her weak side. I was hoping this time around for a few new attacks for our arsenal, such as a full crouch low that knocks down a normal hit, so that if she would land down forward, she would actually have a mix-up that you need to be scared of. And some other things in her moveset, such as a mid to low string, and maybe the return of a reverse Moe Glide which was present in Tekken Revolution. Honestly, I really like Eliza, and I wish to see her natural progress of her becoming a better and more complete character in the Tekken franchise. If Eliza interests you at all, there's a link in the description for a Discord server where you can talk and learn about the character, whether it's learning how to play her or how to fight against her. Maybe one day you'll catch me on my Twitch stream. Till then, see you next time.